The Action was Australia's opener to 2023, and being the first time ACT held a major in Ultimate, there was a lot to be excited for. It was bound to be a fascinating watch, and boy, was it all that and more. From a hometown hero yet again clutching out a victory, to the tussles between mid-level, and even some reward for effort for some of Wi-Fi's strongest. Let's take a deep dive into what went down when 143 of Australia's most hopeful descended on Canberra for their shot at major glory.
47 is so dangerous. No, he's done it! He's done it! He's done it! He's done it!
We'll start with our winner, Sriks. This was a win which simultaneously broke new ground and also kept up trends seen post-quarantine. The Sephiroth Roy co-main broke new ground by being the first time the first seed had won an Oz major since Phantom 2022, when Neotono achieved the feat. Sriks became the first Australian post-quarantine to achieve the feat, however. What remained the same, unless you want to argue technicalities like a nerd, is Sriks being the fourth player in 5 majors post-quarantine to defend the house. Yes, Sriks has resided in Victoria since early 2022, but was an ACT resident throughout the lifespan of Smash 4 and most of Ultimate, so count that as another victory for hometown heroes. But enough numbers, what about the run? Sriks' run to top 8 was relatively uneventful with wins over Archie, Hydro, Dags, and Kanga, all before dropping a single game, which even then, Shmoo would be the only one to trouble the scorers before top 8. Sriks would then run through DD 3-0, and then it got tricky, a heartbreaking reverse 3-0 over his student Kinaji in winners finals, and then Sriks dug deep in 2 grand final sets to clinch the title over second seed, Extra. A fact that also aligns with the hometown winners story is that all of these players now in their major wins haven't just defended the turf, but have also required a reset to do it. Nothing's free out here in Australia. After so many close calls previously, it was a cathartic victory for Sriks, who previously has smashed through being the top of 2 state PRs, and now with a major win stowed away, all that remains for him is to surpass J Dizzle and Ghost to become the top dog in Australia.
Okay, this is Extra's time! Into that!
Extra
He takes it.
Second place finisher and second seed Extra could not have done his run in a more roundabout way. The Wolf Game & Watch co-main lost in winners round 2 of top 64 to fellow Victorian Malakoff, and after the upset factor 7 loss, Extra would not look back and run it all the way back to his seed and almost all the way to victory. Winners and losers over Personate, Luco, Fried Rice, Turn Up, Jix, Unpheasant, and like Sriks, would also gain a reverse 3-0 over Kinaji and would get 1 set over Sriks before losing the second set in a 3-1 fashion. Playing 4 sets more than any other player was bound to take a toll, and it makes you wonder if Extra just could have passed Malakoff. Was this his tournament to take? But even still, an 8-set loser's run to place seed and being touching distance away screams danger signs. Extra will 100% again be there to threaten a major this year. Be ready, Australia.
No way they'll go for it again, right?
Oh, it's too easy. It's too easy. It's
my
so
God.
easy.
ACT's Prodigy stepped up at his first major since his trip to Japan, being one of 4 players with a +3 SPR performance. The Snake Schultz co-main ran it all the way to 3rd with wins over Serene, Slimboy, Mod, Luco, Malakoff, and Jix. Kinaji would tragically cop double reverse 3-0s to top 2 finishers, Sriks and Extra, so the dream run couldn't come to fruition, but Kinaji has got plenty of time to clean himself up, and rest assured he'll be coming for a title and another set with Sriks to really stamp his authority on the Oz Smash scene.
They just did an amazing job just closing out that spot, keeping them out there, getting their timing. But this is the Unpheasant show, and it's up to DD to change that right now. And I don't think they can. No, that's it. That's it.
Unbelievable.
The Action landed in summer school holidays. It was a perfect storm for the Wi-Fi grinders to have a shot at the country's best. We'll go in order of placement to highlight 6 big names, plus some other standouts. Let's kick off with Unpheasant. The star of Wi-Fi into the star of New South Wales broke through to his first top 8 in just his second major. The Mario would run through Biryu, Personate, Isaac, and Beat, all before losing to Jix in 4 games. But he wasn't going to stop shy of top 8 again, cleaning up Luma to charge into top 8. He would also overwork Victorians Malakoff and Didi to reach losers semis, before finally having the story ended by Extra for 4th. Couldn't go all the way yet, but you bet by the time we reach Phantom this year, Unpheasant won't just be a top 8 contender, but a threat to win the tournament. Now let's look at Malakoff, the original Unpheasant if you will. The Luigi Gunner co-main was another one of the weekend's +3 SPR players, clinching wins over Nebulous, BJ Scoey, a run back comeback from Pismas over Johto, the upset factor 7 win over Extra, and getting to top 8 through losers over Flow. He would lose to Kinaji before top 8 and Unpheasant in top 8 to bow out at 7th, but his run went above and beyond as another textbook case of an online to offline player planting their feet and punching well above their weight. How about we peep some PAC-MAN now? We got another +3 SPR performance from Personate as the 59th seed secured huge scalps on Sunday over Concord, Zav, and Jay in losers for a combined upset factor total of 7, before Extra being sent to losers early would cut a phenomenal run short. Zach was probably one of the Wi-Fi players going into this weekend with massive expectations, and a 17th place and +1 SPR showed signs of growth into a true threat since his last major, securing wins over Legacy, Spike, and Dugongs before losses to Jix and Fierce kept him from a massive run. Give Zach a little more time and a top 8 berth could be on the cards. The other 17th placer from Wi-Fi this weekend we saw was Vic Robmain Scobo, currently ranked 12th in Vic. Again, he was going to be another with massive expectations, and another +1 SPR showed good signs of growth. He picked up wins over some of Sydney's best, beating Kit, Dugongs, Amro, and Chipotle, only losing out to Shmoo and Luco. Like I said in the Pismas vid, Vic Robs will always be a threat, and this one's still quite young and is bound to climb even higher. Our final featured player before we name drop some individual performances is Vic Jokermain Jet. Previously known for upsetting DD with Steve at a temple, Jet would benefit off an unfortunate chisel DQ before collecting a win on Nebulous for a top 64 berth and even clinching an upset over Olag before ending his run at 33rd. For a +2 SPR. With Jed about to convert to box, are we going to see him continue form like this at home, or was this just a one-off standout? Now to wrap up the Wi-Fi onslaught at the action, here's some standouts. New South Wales Ness, Iceman, and DK Morgone combined to send Queensland Karzia Negama packing in pools, clinching an upset factor 5 win each. Finally, Steve Main Jam would also escape pools, upsetting Queensland Falco Stacked in an upset factor 3 win. At the action, the Wi-Fi turned offline grinders really turned up to put Australia on notice, that while others are busy complaining about Fighter Pass 2 or the problems of Smash Online, these guys are straight grinding and will pass by you if not careful.
Banana is in play again. See if Turnup can't utilize it to his advantage.
Are we at Pikachu after a kill percent?
Not quite yet.
Oh!
Let's go!
Back air does it. Turn up is popping the F off.
Break off.
Going into the weekend, choice words were made about the seeding of the event, but funnily enough, seeding was more so closer to accurate than inaccurate, with the action only being second to Phantom for total upset factor across top 64, with a total of 40. This is a far reach from the likes of Bam's 78 and Pismas's 74. But despite that, the upsets here still got heads moving and people talking. One of the big upset makers from the weekend was Fierce. The Game & Watch turned Samus main was the other +3 SPR performer and opened his account massively with an upset factor 2 win over Victorian Roy Mast, and would continue his warpath on Sunday with an upset factor 3 win over Phoebe and an upset factor 1 win over Zac to send the PAC-Kaz co-main packing at 17th. ACT Samus main Bless would end up causing one of the biggest drowns of the event, as Mast ended up being double eliminated by Samus, as Bless would hand the Victorian Roy a 2-1 loss and contribute to an upset factor of 4. A tragic end for Mast, whose -4 SPR would only be surpassed by Negama, as the rest of the tournament lacked a lot of heavy failures. Character Crisis main Twirly, who ran DK all the way to 25th, picked up a huge scalp with an upset factor 2 win over Queensland Snake Sad Hour to send him packing at 33rd. ACT Sora main Lad Aussie also joined Morgone and Iceman, picking up an upset factor 5 win when he pinched the earliest upset of the tournament, beating New South Wales commentator and star player Chipotle, and would end up running all the way to 49th for a +2 SPR as 110th seed. New South Wales PT main Quokka silenced the seeders this weekend with a +2 SPR as 83rd seed, and even escaped pools winners side. An upset factor 2 win over ACT veteran Wave Guider before beating Lad Aussie to qualify for day 2. Another one silencing seeders was 39th seed Mod, with a +2 SPR performance on his way to 17th. The Rob took scalps over Stacked and Lari that he wasn't seeded to do. A big story among the upset makers was 7th place finisher Turnup, who put Western Australia on his back this weekend, with a +2 SPR for a maiden top 8 berth and beating Beat, and Shmoo back-to-back for a combined upset factor 3 for the Sonic Diddy co-main. Other minor upsets seen across the event included Fire Emblem enthusiast Soup getting an upset factor 2 win over strong Wario main Sheep, Turtle Cat edging out Battle Dolphin to escape pools, and ACT Joker main Jay would send Dags home early at 33rd in another upset factor 1 victory. The action may not have been abundant with upsets, but the little ones definitely added together to paint a picture full of the underseeded making their voice heard and the scuffles between mid-level of many states being very competitive.
Oh, wow. Jump from ledge. Yeah. Super fast game.
Just a machine.
Only in a minute and a half. Quite claps from the BKB crew in the front.
Sometimes
there.
it's not all about the guys marching into top 8 or causing the big upsets. Let's finish with some players who just played real nice. Let's start with Flo. The Victorian Inkling is starting to string together major consistency, with a 9th here backing up the 9th place at Big Cheese 3, this time gaining wins over Abarosa, Plump, Iceman, Isaac, and stopping a white-hot Fierce, before Malakoff would perform the team kill to leave the Flow top 8 dream wondering yet again. Another one backing up previous form at Majors is Kanga, who after a strong set of pre-locals would run to a 13th place at the action, putting Zav's Aegis to the sword, and getting the run back on Johto from Pissmas. Kanga is beginning to show that this snake is not someone to be trifled with. They're no joke. One of New South Wales' loudest and proudest, BJ Scully, also pulled no punches on Sunday after escaping pools on loser's side. The Incineroar would run through Ants, benefit from L's unfortunate DQ after the Farmers Union had some hands, and then team kill fellow Wollongong star, Iceman. Scully almost dipped his toes into top 16 while working on a reverse 3-0 on beat, but not to be as his run ended at 17th. Wootkins is our final story as the Vic Bayo cleaned up on his way to 17th, with wins on Bless, Lari, Swait, and a big upset factor 3 win on Phoebe. At the action, little standouts from those who are climbing in their own scene or consolidating major form was the major story, and going forward, questions will be posed on whether these players capitalize or they go back to the same old form. The action in some ways was a quiet start to 2023 for Australia, with first seed winning, not a huge bag of upsets, and 6 out of the top 8 seeds making top 8. But despite this tourney really felt like players firing at their best, as so many denied underperformances and rose to the occasion. Going forward with Australian majors, the question becomes if star performers from here can keep it up, or if it's just the smaller majors where they can hold it together. Next Australian major isn't until March, when Victoria hosts the Game Expo. But worry not, I've got plenty in the works around OzSmash and the greater scene to hold you over. But until then, see ya.